Listening section. Listen to part of a lecture in a sociology class.
Morning, class. Sorry I'm a little late. I had a bit of an accident in the parking lot. Nothing serious, but it slowed me down. A student from another class I teach... Well, actually, I'll get into that more in a few minutes. Okay, last week we looked at status hierarchy, how societies have social classes, socioeconomic hierarchies, and these are ranked based on status, and status is used to divvy up jobs and responsibilities and maintain some social control. Well, today I want to talk a little about signs, status signs or signals. These terms are interchangeable. Status signs or signals that we look at to get some idea of a person's status. Well, let me give you an example from the non-human world first. Remember the movie we saw last week about gorilla society? One sign you were told to look for immediately to help you identify the dominant male gorilla was silver hair on his back. Well, that's a sign that's pretty specific to gorillas. But I guess, come to think of it, I guess you could say that, in some cases, silver hair on males also works as a sign of status among humans, although on the head, not the back. Humans, in fact, probably have the widest range of status signs of all animals, of ways to signal status. And our signs are also more flexible and more arbitrary. They vary from culture to culture, from decade to decade. Think of some of our culture's status symbols that exist today. Like owning a big SUV. It means you're rich, right? You don't care what gas costs. Or a particular brand of athletic shoes, gym shoes we used to call them, before they started signifying higher status. What about an occupation? That can be a sign of your status. An athlete, an actor, a doctor. So, silver hair, clothing, cars, professions. To one degree or another, these are all signs of status in our society. Up to this point, I've been talking about signs that show high status. There are also signs that signal lower status. Again, occupations, like very dirty or tedious laborer jobs that pay minimum wage. Or in some contexts, old, ragged clothes. Being a child as opposed to an adult, you get the idea. So, status signs can be divided into two types. Constant and controllable. Constant, of course, means it doesn't readily change. In fact, these signs are exhibited even if the person doesn't necessarily want to signal his status. They're the most basic ways we have of identifying people in our society, and they're used in most human societies to help determine status. Gender, family name, ethnic markers, even reputation. The problem is that low status can, in effect, be forced on you. You can't control the circumstances of your birth. If some bias is attached to your ethnicity, family name, gender, and so on, your individual character or achievements may be irrelevant to your status. So this kind of status signal can reinforce social inequality from one generation to the next. You can pass on a fantastic reputation, a good name, or a bad name, your status, to your kids, even though they may not want it. In the United States, you don't hear the term so much anymore, but you used to. Blue bloods, people who belong to socially prominent families, like the Kennedys, a status sign, the Roosevelts, the Vanderbilts. On the other hand, we've got controllable signs that we can quickly change on purpose, or sometimes we change them accidentally or subconsciously. Oh yes, here a real-life experience. You get into a little fender bender in the school parking lot. You're mad, you're going to be late to class now, and you storm out of your car roaring, aggressive, in a threatening manner. You want to show the other driver, dominate the situation so it can go your way. Then you recognize that other driver. It's your professor. Oh, you back down quickly, grin sheepishly, shrug your shoulders apologetically, lower your voice, and drop the anger. Now you want to, convey a sense of appropriate, respect, deference to that higher status, to let her know that you know it's actually your fault. Controllable signs, Language, what we say and our tone, nonverbal gestures, clothes, material goods like cars and iPods. These are all controllable status signals. One more interesting thing. I shouldn't leave you with the impression that it's two ends of a scale and never the twain shall meet. It's a continuum, really. For instance, you can change your physical posture quickly. It's a controllable status sign. But you probably won't be changing cars every few months. That status sign lasts a lot longer. And even constant signs that are, well, as I said, constant, but even they can be changed. Playwrights have had great fun changing or reversing constant status signs in their characters. Transformations from a prince to a pauper, that sort of thing, or Cinderella. None of this is set in stone. It's just a convenient framework for looking at the way we humans signal status.
Now get ready to answer the questions. You may use your notes to help you answer. Number 1. What is the lecture mainly about? Listen again to part of the lecture. Then answer the question.
Sorry I'm a little late. I had a bit of an accident in the parking lot. Nothing serious, but it slowed me down. A student from another class I teach. Well, actually, I'll get into that more in a few minutes.
Number 2. Why does the professor tell the students that she will tell them more about the accident later? Number 3. According to the professor, what is one problem with constant status signs? Number 4. The Kennedys, Roosevelts, and Vanderbilts are mentioned as cases in which someone inherited Number 5. In the lecture, the professor describes characteristics of constant and controllable status signals. Indicate to which category each of the following belongs. Number 6. How is the control of status signs illustrated in the professor's story about the accident in the parking lot?